verses. So I was just thinking, like we make stock taking and strategic planning for our hospitals. So just like that, we should do for our life. So many years of our life are already over. Maybe many decades are already over, and we don't know how many more years are left. So to use those years wisely. So I'm going to talk on three areas. One is words of wisdom from the life of Jesus, which helped us manage this hospital in Assam. And then about taking stock, and finally about faith. So we cannot do anything in our life unless we assume some risk. So a lot of people are asking about risk. So we have to do a cost and risk versus benefit analysis. So how do we decide how much risk to take? So that is about faith. So this is one of the biggest problem in many of our mission hospitals. We don't have doctors. So how do we get them? So in Makunda, we could get people from Vellore and Ludhiana because they are sponsored. But when they hear stories that there is no electricity, there is no phone, the roads are bad, and all those stories, then as soon as the posting order is sent, they will ask, what wrong have I done to be posted to an useless place like this? So nobody wants to come. So we realized that the only way to get good people, highly committed people who want to come, is by going and talking to them. So we spent all our free time going to medical colleges, nursing colleges, and paramedical colleges in Northeast India, talking to young people doing their third year, fourth year, inviting them over to Makunda. And that is just like this story. I'm not going to explain all these stories because I'm sure all of you know them. So Jesus has just done a big miracle. After that, he's not inviting these fishermen and saying, I will make you better fishermen. He's saying, I will make you fishers of men. So we used to go and call people and say, not as a doctor or as a nurse, come and join us to be a transformer of societies. So when we started this hospital in Tripura, where there was militancy, I went to one government medical college and I told those students there, why don't you come to Tripura? There's no hospital, everything is closed. We are going to buy land and build a hospital. We will train you thoroughly. And this is the situation there, PowerPoint presentation. So you will be very surprised that two doctors who had no obligation at all came and joined us. They spent 2 years with us learning how to run a hospital, and they became the first hospital doctors in that new hospital. Similarly, when we started our nursing school, we needed BSc nurses. So we spoke to first year BSc nursing students. And 5 years later, when we were just started construction of our nursing school building, these students called and asked, you spoke about one nursing college, missionary nursing college you want to start. Is that project still on? Because if it is, we want to join. And that is what we need to tell people. And I'm sure they will come and join our hospitals. But we can't take anybody. So there are people who come and they are not interested in the work. So it's like a person joining the army wanting to be a commando. But he also wants to be very safe, he wants comforts, he wants to be with his family. So it's not possible because a commando can't work like that. So sometimes we need to let people go. So in this story, this man was a very eligible man. He was wealthy, well accepted in society, a good religious man. But Jesus said, I'm sorry, your mind is in two things. You want to be with me, but you are also wanting your wealth and your ambitions. So I can't have a double-minded person. And a lot of uncertainty. So many people in Northeast India, they want to join government service because in Manipur, Nagaland, all these places, Once they join government, there is no problem. And all the families also want. But mission hospital is uncertain. So, but that is also one of the needs. Uncertain, but at the same time certain, because God is going with us. Na? So that is the certainty we have. So we need that character to be successful in a mission hospital. So taking up your cross, meaning accepting some delay and denial in personal ambition. So we all have ambitions, but unless we are willing to accept some delay. So Anne was telling, she had to wait 7 years to do post-graduation because there was nobody to relieve us. So if you went to do PG, the hospital will close. So we kept on waiting till Sam Siddharth, who was in EMFI. So he came and relieved us for 3 years. So till the time we did not think of going. So some little bit of personal delays and denials, that is the cross that we are called to carry. Again, if you say we won't do that, then nothing much can happen in our life. Na? So little bit we must be willing to submit. And Jesus kept on visiting people. And that is also important. So in Makunda, we used to get young doctors who join from government medical colleges. So after 6 months, parents are asking, when are you coming home? When are you going to join local government or local some private hospital? We were hoping that you will come and work and support our family, but you are going and working in mission hospital. So we used to visit that house and ask the parents, can you not let her stay another 6 months? Na? So 6 months she has done such a wonderful job in our hospital. So they will say, okay, another 6 months. So little by little, it will become 2 years. And then they'll go and do PG and come back. So that is how many short-term people became long-term. And today we have a lot of long-term doctors, nurses, paramedical people who have been accepted by their families. Because when the family comes and sees, they understand that they are doing good work. So even this Chandan and his wife, his family are both in VISAKHAPATNAM. So they were not very happy with the choice that they had made. Na? So I came and met both the families. But when both families came and saw what they were doing in Makunda, they were convinced. So we need to visit the homes of our staff. And Jesus went around eating with people. But this was not like some barbecue party. Na? So he was going to eat with people so that he can ask them what is happening in your life. And how can we together do something beautiful with your life? Na? So we used to invite a lot of people. I think Sukumar's house also, a lot of people. And I think many of you are doing that. And that is very important. You should invite people to your home to inquire and to sort of motivate, handhold, support. Because it is not easy to go to a faraway, difficult place. No? And one new thing that has happened in CMC Vellore, all faculty, before getting confirmed, 2 weeks they have to go to mission hospital. And before they become professor, again 2 weeks they have to go to mission hospital. So forced to go to mission hospital. So when they come back and they teach undergraduate and postgraduate students, they tell, when I was in this hospital, I saw for myself, this is what was happening. So I will prepare you for a place like that. No? So maybe some of you are in professors and faculty in medical colleges. And if you can go for short periods to some mission hospital, you will see for yourself the reality there. And prepare all these young people when they want to go and help them to be successful. So in this story, Lazarus has already died and Jesus already planned to bring him back to life. But still he wept. And that was only to create solidarity with his sisters. And so, like my wife used to go to the village, to homes of our staff, because something is going on in everybody's house. Someone is having cancer, some girl has run away from home, boy is not studying, wasting time. Something concerning is happening in everybody's house. And we can simply go and inquire. What is happening? Tell me your problems. We cannot solve everything, but that spirit of inquiry, I think that is very important to build up any institution, not just mission hospitals. So these people did not have anything to eat, and Jesus has taken note. So we realized in our Makunda hospital, many people brought money for the treatment, but they didn't bring money for the food. So after the second day, they are buying one plate and eating, 4 people eating from that one plate. Third day, they are buying biscuit for the children. They are not eating anything. So our job is not only to do cholecystectomy. We should make them comfortable. That means they should have food in the hospital. If they don't have the money for food, it doesn't cost anything to provide food. And that is part of what we do to any guest who comes to our house. So this is another big struggle. When people go far away from home, family people don't want them to go. I think it's a special problem in Andhra and Telangana more than many other states. So if they go to Bihar, everybody is angry with them. But if they go to Australia, they won't mind. Although that is much further off. So we need to cut our connection with our home to some extent. Not completely cut, but in order to make God's purpose possible in our life, certain relationships may have to be sort of controlled. And that is another thing that is needed. But we are given another relationship. So we go to a new place, there are many new people, they become family. So we cannot simply sit in our house and be with our own friends and family. Sometimes only doctors, they don't talk to nurses also. So all the parties are only doctor parties. What a waste. We are not called to go there only as doctors. We are called there to be with everyone. So that is another reason why there is no spirit in our hospitals. And who are the people called to serve? It is written, the sick. So just like that in our place, who are they? The poor. Who are the people who cannot go to hospital? They are the ones we are called to serve. Everybody has sickness, but there are certain people who are more sick than others because they have no options. And they must be our special focus. So, like in our hospital, 500 people in the OPD, lot of noise, everybody talking at the same time, and then some calls from the theater and ICU. But there is one person who has come out of distress. So my wife is very good at picking up that person. So God sends special people with some distress. And we were there just for that person for that day. So we cannot miss those people. The sound of distress. So I think there are quite a few anesthetists here. And the anesthetists are tuned to the tone of the saturation monitor, pulse oximeter. The moment the saturation tone changes, we know something is not okay. So the same way, we must tune our eyes to the sound of distress. And I already told you about this. So people have many problems. Sometimes when somebody has a problem, we will say, we will pray for you. refer everything to higher center. But there are many problems we can solve. We don't need to pray about it. So, if somebody needs food, we can provide it. If somebody needs somebody to talk with, that we can do. There are obviously things we can't do, and those we can refer to God. But we should be the answer to the prayers of people. Na? Come unto me means God is in us also. Na? So we also can solve many of the problems. Unfortunately, we have the tendency of referring everything to God. And then there are a lot of unnecessary fights going on everywhere, between staff and outside people, between patients. So which battle is worth fighting? So there are 3 times in the Bible where it is written there was a big fight going on and Jesus just walked through it. He didn't talk to anybody, because that fight was not worth fighting. So we have to seriously think, out of all these problems going on, I have my plate full of things to do. Which battle is worth fighting? Unnecessary arguments, unnecessary trivial issues becoming big problems. So many mission hospitals, what are they fighting about? Very trivial things. So we should think it's not worth fighting. And we should take some risks. So I told you about that ventilator. I told you about the school. So these are all risks. We don't have it with us right now. Whole building we don't have. Ventilator we don't have. But with what I have, I will do. And ask God to bless that effort. So many times our doctors go to some place and say, I can't handle it. Referred. Because we want to play safe. Many times it is okay to refer, but sometimes the cost of referral is the death of the patient. So when that is the cost, it is worth taking the risk. And patients also will give consent, because they know travel 12 hours, they will not survive. So again, unnecessary arguments, not worth it. So we cannot waste our breath. Certain things that we have to fight, but many things are not worth fighting. And these are all words of Jesus. So many times leadership meetings, they talk about Jesus' love and empathy, but he was also very firm. When things were going wrong, he didn't keep quiet. He took the whip out. So many hospitals, mission hospitals, and I think Andhra is a classic example, are sick because we did not do anything about the problems. We need to say that this cannot happen in a Christian institution, whatever it is, and be willing to take whatever corrective steps are needed to solve the problem, including filing FIRs or taking legal action. So again, Jesus had no problem calling people what he thought. We can't call people like that, but we can assess people. Should I get involved with this person or not? And if I am going to get involved, to what level? Is this person good for me and my institution or bad for me and my institution? There is nothing wrong in it. So we should be careful with whom we associate, because that will rub off on us. And many times we get into the wrong sort of people. That is another reason why our hospitals are sick. And we are not alone. So we cannot say, I don't know anything, because the Holy Spirit has been given specifically for people who have gone out of their comfort zone to a place where they don't know what to do. And He will guide us to take the right decision. And again, I want to repeat that we must submit to God's will. It is not a sacrifice. It is not a loss it is the best decision we can take. Because in eternity, nothing gets, it's like you have money to save for retirement and you are thinking where to invest, no? Which place will be most safe, which place I will get the best returns. So the best returns are the places where our heavenly bank account will earn more money, no? So logically, that is the best decision. But yet, we choose the other sort of money. So I think God is again reminding us what is the true wealth and where is it to be found and how it should be acquired. And that is what it says in this. Which money are we working for? And whose approval are we working for? So we need to look back at the years gone by and look at the challenge before us. Take stock. Where am I today? And if I keep going like this, where will I reach? No? And should I make any course corrections? So we have to remind ourselves that when we accept God's hand and say, you take me, I will come with you. No? The important thing is not where we are going, but who is coming with us. No? So because He is coming with us, it doesn't matter. Whatever the problem may be, He will take us with us. So I think all of us know this passage. So I had given a short message on this at Makunda. Once in 2000, when the hospital was in very severe crisis. And again in 2020, just before COVID, when the hospital was at its best. So our lives are constantly changing. Our situation is constantly changing. But we need to keep asking God for stock taking. So in this passage, there are 7 churches to which God sends His Spirit. Go and see this place. Tell me what is happening there so that we can help those communities. And it says we should very carefully listen to that prophecy because our time is near. Our options are few. And soon we won't have a chance to make a difference. So this is the first church, the church in Ephesus. So what it says is, what you were doing in the past was wonderful in my sight. Your thoughts, words and actions were a sweet smelling aroma to me. But slowly I can detect the smell of smoke, and now there is a faint but unmistakable smell of decay and gangrene. Please examine yourself. What are you doing? What are you doing with your time, your talents and treasure? I sent you to serve the poor and marginalized, and you were conscious of the hungry, the needy, the widow, the handicapped, and the sick. Have you now started giving more importance to yourself? So that is to the church at Ephesus. Smyrna, I must commend you. Not everyone is privileged to go through difficulties for doing good for my sake. But have you started wallowing in self-pity? Are you becoming self-declared martyrs? Are you thinking of going back to your old and insipid life? Will you not stay on for some more time till deliverance comes? Your difficulties in this world are trivial and momentary. If you persevere, even if you die, you will receive the crown of life. So that is to the church at Smyrna. And the churches Pergamon, have you put rotten apple in your basket? Please examine all the apples. Tap them, smell them, pinch them, and throw out the rotten ones quickly. Otherwise, soon all of them will be rotten. You cannot be complacent, but be ever vigilant. Infection starts insidiously, but if you let it spread, it will soon be out of control. The church at Thyatira, the same message as for Pergamon. Stop following bad practices and do not tolerate evil people. The church at Sardis, is Jesus Lord and Master of your life? So very often we say we must have a time of worship, right? But the Bible says that true worship is giving your life as a living sacrifice. So singing doesn't cost you anything, nah? But this is what we are asked. Is Jesus Lord and Master of your life? Or are you having an affair with the world? That is a message to Sardis. The church at Philadelphia, you are doing very well. But will you not persevere till the end? You will be tested, but you must overcome. So many people are doing excellent work, but their ending is not so good. Nah? So many great men and women of God have stumbled at the last step. So we cannot afford to do that. We must finish well. The church at Laodicea, when you were poor and out of your comfort zone, surrounded by many enemies, unsure of what tomorrow will bring, you were close to me. You were constantly reminded of your inadequacy and you depended on me for everything, including the courage to face each day and the strength to plod on. However, when you became prosperous and have all that you need, you have started feeling that you can manage on your own and you don't need me anymore. You should realize that self-sufficiency, comfort, and happiness are temporary and cannot replace eternal joy. It is better to be poor and close to God than rich and far away from Him. So in this passage, we see God examining each of us like a doctor. You are well, He says to some of us. There is nothing to worry about. You have terminal cancer, He says to some others. And He tells us where we stand in His sight. It is a picture of God taking us to the edge of the cliff and showing us where we could fall. Are we chasing after glitter or gold? Are we clothing ourselves for God or for the world? Whose eyes are we looking through? Have we become so self-sufficient that we now believe that we don't need Him anymore? Many great men and women of God and many great institutions that proudly displayed God's name have fallen in the past, and we should be ever vigilant. But this passage ends with this verse which all of us are very familiar. Verse 20, Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man opens the door, I will enter and will dine with him, and he with me. So are we willing to say, take me by my hand, lead me wherever you want, and I am happy, I am willing to come with you. Maybe we have gone through God's examination and are found to be healthy, and maybe we have moved far away from Him. Jesus stands at our door and says, will you let me in? We can look together at your life and make it white as snow, as a powerful instrument in my hand. If we accept, He will take us by our hand and lead us along the narrow path that leads to life. We need not fear the future with Jesus by our side. And this is what Timothy said towards the end of his life. No? Not Timothy, Paul. I am being poured out like a drink offering, and the time for my departure is near. I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. So are we able to say that? Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing. So many people write the final year MBBS exam. Na? Who is the person who is happy to take the test? It is the one who is well prepared. He is saying, I am sure I will do well. And that is the position that we should be before we finish our time in this world. So when I went to my first retreat in Chennai, we were all made to sing this song. I think all of us know Onward Christian Soldiers, no? But they made us sing Backward Christian Soldiers. I think it was George Verwer who was taking the message. And that is a very clear the thing of what is happening in our church today. No? So it says, backward Christian soldiers fleeing from the fight, with the cross of Jesus nearly out of sight. And Christ, our rightful master, stands against the foe, but forward into battle we are loath to go. So we are all well settled wherever we are. And Jesus is calling us to whatever he wants us to do, but we don't want to go. Like a mighty tortoise moves the church of God. Brothers, we are treading where we always trod. We are much divided. So a lot of the problems in our church are because of this division and that division within the same church. Na? People fighting with each other. Having many doctrines, not much charity. Sit there, here, then you people join our useless throng. Blend with ours your voices in a feeble song. Blessings, ease and comfort, ask from Christ the King. So what are all our prayers? Most of them are for blessings, ease and comfort. With our modern thinking, we will not do anything. So I'll finish with this last bit from Hebrews chapter 11. It is one of my favorite passages. So it is a record of great men and women of God, na? And what they did and what we can learn from their life. Confidence in what we hope for, and assurance of what we cannot see. So for us at Makunda, when we went there, there is no hope, no? No money, no patience, no electricity, no oxygen, no patience. And the people who are there want us to leave because they want to take the land. So everything looks bleak. But faith is saying, just do the best you can, one day at a time. No? Like Anand was saying, how long? That we don't know, but keep doing every day. Plod on. No? So the major changes at Makunda took 15 to 20 years. So only after that period, it started turning around. No? And another thing that she was saying, we overestimate what God will do in the short term. So 2 months nothing happened, 3 months nothing happened, 6 months nothing happened, we are ready to give up and go. We underestimate what God will do in the long term. We are not willing to wait long enough for the major changes to happen. Eh? So are we willing to be people of faith? So the first story, I'm going to take only 4 or 5 stories, is about Noah. So it is told that Noah, in his time, people lived for hundreds of years. Na? So one day, God tells Noah, a big flood is going to come, and I want you to build a boat. And it is told that it took 100 years for the flood to come. Na? And during that 100 years, every year, the rainy season came at its time, but not flood. And he was making a boat on solid ground. So what do you think everybody said? They must have said that he is a fool. No? So many of God's instructions to us are foolishness. And we must be willing to face ridicule. And that is important if you want to live a life of faith. So in my own life, my parents were completely against me going to missions. So when I finished MBBS, I sort of ran away from home to join Christian Fellowship Hospital at Vatanjatram, where I was there for 3 years. So sometimes we must speak to our parents, we must try to convince them, but at some point, we also need to do what God wants us to do. We should not do bad things, but good things. More is written about Abraham in this chapter than anybody else. Why Abraham? Because he was a man of action, instant and complete obedience. God says, do this means he's not waiting, he's not asking for no questions. So when somebody says, why don't you go to this hospital, we want to know where is it and who is there and what sort of people are there. So many questions we want to know. Abraham never asked God, tell me something about these people. He simply obeyed. And he was not a poor man. So it's not that he didn't have money to build a nice house. He lived in a tent because God never told him to settle down. So if you live in a tent, anytime God says you should go to next place, in 2 days you are ready to go. You can fold the tent and go to another place. So for us also, after 30 years in Assam, one day it was very clear that we should leave. By then we had already handed over and other people had taken over the work. And we are moving to another place where everything is new, different type of work. But God must be master of our life. And he should be willing to tell us, he should tell us where to go and we should be willing to listen. So now we are thinking of again going back to Northeast India, after we complete our work, maybe next year. So we should be ready as long as we are alive and able to move. At least we are not having any major medical problem. We are still in good health, so we should be able to go and do whatever God wants us to do. And Abraham and Sarah kept on asking for a son. And finally we are told they got a son, maybe when she was postmenopausal. But then God says, take that son, your only son, to the place I tell you, and there you go and sacrifice him to me. So why would God do that? Because maybe the son has now become too important, and God is becoming second place. So are there any Isaacs in our life? Is there something that is coming between what God wants us to do with our life and our own decisions? Maybe our ambition or some relationship or whatever it is. So if we want something powerful to come out of our life, then that sacrifice of that desire, that Isaac has to be made. And Moses was living a very comfortable life. He was living in the home of Pharaoh, and very soon he is going to be the next Pharaoh. But then when everything is very comfortable, God says, go and be with these despised Israelites. So the same with us. So when we went to Northeast India, the people there became our people. So during Christmas and New Year, we didn't go home. We were with our people. They were our people. Na? So that is important. It tells you that you have adopted the people you have called to serve as your own family, and they have also invited you into their homes. Only then that bond happens with the people you are called to serve. As long as you sit in comfortably in your mission compound, and outside people are outside, na? We are only our campus people, our Christian community, only for them we are living, then how will any transformation happen? Jesus himself has set an example that he never lived like that. And that is important. And that is what we learn from the life of Moses. And then there are miracles. So why do the miracles happen? Because they have to happen. There's no other way. You have come to a point where the resources in your hand are not enough to solve the problem. Na? You don't have the whatever is needed to bring a person to life. So at that point, miracles happen. So why no miracles are happening in our life? Because we are not moved out of our comfort zone. And we can manage. So when we cannot manage, then miracles will happen. And we can see the power of God in our life and institutions. And there is a very surprising name, na, in this Hall of Fame. And not only her name appears in Hebrews 11, it is there in the genealogy of Jesus Christ. So what does it show? It says it does not matter who you are and whatever you have done in the past. So sometimes we feel I am inadequate. Na? I am not a bold and adventurous type of person. I don't think I can do all these things. It does not matter who we are. It only matters whom we are willing to be. Are we available? And if we are, that is sufficient. God will cover up for all our inadequacies. And then there is difficulties. So I told you about some difficulties that we faced. But if you look at the history of the church, missionaries from Scotland set sail to the western coast of Africa. So when they reached the coast, they were planning to go along the river, which has been already mapped by David Livingstone. Na? They want to go along the river and set up mission stations. They'll put a church, a little later they'll make one school, then a hospital. But along the way, the children die. Na? They cannot handle that malaria and wild animals and violence. A little later, the wife is dead, then the husband also dies. And when months later news reaches the small church, they send the next family. And that is how all our mission stations were built in those days, by the sweat and blood of people. So compared to that, whatever problems we face today are not worth talking about. And is it not the model that we should follow? No? To be willing to go to a place of need and be a living witness to those people. So a lot of people are asking today in the morning, how do you evangelize? So if you go today to many states of India, you cannot evangelize. You will be put straight away in jail. No? Anti-conversion bills have come everywhere. And anything you do will be taken as inducement. And many countries in the world, it is like that. In Maldives, in Saudi Arabia, you cannot even take the Bible with you. But yet, as long as the Spirit of God lives in us, it will speak. How does it speak? Without words. by our actions, no? And that may be a greater, more powerful message than many words. And these people who died and went through difficulties, they were not a failure. I told yesterday in the morning session that the outcome is not ours. Our obedience is our responsibility. So they simply did what was needed. Many missionaries died. The next missionary also, nothing happened. The third missionary saw many changes. No? So that was in God's plan. It is His sovereign will for each of our lives. So we simply need to do that day's work to the best of our ability. The results and outcome are not in our hands. And for that obedience we will be rewarded, not for the outcome. And this passage ends with this fantastic verse. No? So we are not the only ones going through difficulties. So many generations of people have gone before us. And it is almost like all of them are looking down on us and telling us, don't worry. No? We also went through the same thing, and even worse than that. Just keep going on, egging us on, encouraging us. No? So we should remember these stories of people who went on before us. And it says, don't get entangled. So God says, go to this place. So we cannot be diverting here and there and wasting time. No? So go straight by the shortest possible route to the place where God wants us to be, to go, and keeping our eyes on Jesus. And if we can do that, so the first major decision we do is to give our life to Jesus Christ, no? To take Him into our life. But that is not the end. We should not do that just to get to heaven on technical grounds. No? Should we not go there as people who are welcome back for completing the task given to them? So if God examines our life today, what would He find? So that is for us to think about. Are we willing to accept His invitation, invite Him into our lives, and trust and obey Him in the remaining days of our life? So we cannot do anything about all the years gone by. No? That's all finished. But in the remaining days of our life, maybe you want to be here in VISAKHAPATNam, but maybe you are in a position to motivate people to go, or support a hospital which is in need. So may God open our eyes to see through His eyes and see in what way we can help to establish His plans and purposes for our life in the years to come. Thank you.